The night the prison went silent. Sirens were supposed to be loud. Guards shouting, doors slamming, alarms screaming. That was normal inside Blackridge maximum security prison, the deadliest prison in the country. But tonight, there was silence. A guard named Torres walked down the long hallway of C Block, shining his flashlight through the bars. Inmates were supposed to be asleep. Instead, every single one of them was standing at their doors, just staring at him. No talking, no noise, just eyes. Then Torres noticed something terrifying. Every lock on the doors was already open. He froze. The inmates didn't rush him. They didn't scream. They didn't even move. They just waited. Then one inmate stepped forward and whispered, "You weren't supposed to find us first." The lights flickered. The hallway went dark, and Torres heard the sound of something heavy falling behind him. But was it a person? A weapon? A door? He couldn't tell. And this was a moment the world would learn the truth about what really happens inside the deadliest prison in America. The things no one talks about. What was waiting for Torres in that darkness? Who opened the cells? And why were the inmates calm? To understand that night, we must go back to where it all started. Welcome to Blackridge. Blackridge wasn't a normal prison. It was known for three things: violence every single day, guards who didn't trust each other, secrets hidden from the outside world. When a new inmate named Malik arrived, he thought he understood danger. He had lived through street wars. He had survived rival crews. But Blackridge was different. Inside this place, the rules were simple. No one is your friend. Everyone is a threat. Malik learned the first lesson quickly. Less extreme event, the warning. On his first day, an older inmate whispered to him during chow, "Watch the guards more than the inmates. They're the ones you should fear." Malik didn't understand. He thought guards were supposed to protect. Then came the moment that changed everything. Extreme ending event, the chair. As Malik walked back to his cell, he saw a guard dragging an inmate toward a small room. Nobody talked about that room. Nobody wanted to. Everyone called it the chair. And when the door slammed shut, Malik heard screaming that didn't stop. The chair's secret. The next morning, Malik asked what the chair was. Nobody answered. Not until an inmate named Rico pulled him aside. Less extreme event, Rico explains. Rico whispered, "That room isn't for punishment. It's for silence. Anyone who knows too much goes in and doesn't come out the same." Malik didn't want to believe him. How could prison do that? But then the guards escorted out the same inmate who had screamed all night. He was walking, but his eyes were empty, like he wasn't there anymore. Extreme ending event, the knock on Malik's door. That night, when Malik finally lay down, exhausted, a guard stopped outside his cell and knocked. One single knock. Slow, heavy, intentional. Nobody knocks on a cell. Malik sat up immediately. The guard whispered through the bars, "Director wants to see you." The same director who ran the chair. The director's game. Malik was escorted through the prison, deeper than he had ever been allowed to go. Past the kitchen, past the medical wing, past the locked double doors most inmates never see. Less extreme event, the director's office. The director sat behind a metal desk. No family pictures. No decorations. Just files. And a single screen showing every camera in the prison. He looked at Malik and said, "You're smarter than the others. That means you can help me or you can disappear." Malik didn't know what that meant. He only knew it sounded like a threat. Extreme ending event. The secret folder. The director slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos. Pictures of guards meeting inmates secretly. Pictures of something being passed through vents. Pictures of a hallway Malik had never seen before. The director leaned forward and whispered, "Someone inside is planning something big, and I need you to find out who." The setup. Malik didn't want to be involved, but refusing the director wasn't an option. So he went back to his unit and watched, listened, waited. Less extreme event, strange movements. He noticed things he had never paid attention to. Inmates tapping on pipes. Guards switching shifts without reason. Strange symbols scratched into cell doors. Food trays being handed out too quickly, like someone wanted them distracted. Something was happening, something coordinated, and Malik realized the director wasn't lying. Someone was planning something inside this prison. Extreme ending event. The discovery. It happened during night count. Malik heard a scraping sound behind his toilet. He removed the metal cover. Inside the wall was a small note wrapped in tape. He unrolled it. It said, "Midnight, C block. Do not tell anyone." And under the note was a handmade metal key. The real plan behind C block. Malik stepped back as Rico and the others circled around him. Their faces weren't angry. They were focused, like soldiers preparing for a mission. Rico raised a finger to his lips. Quiet. They're listening. But Malik looked around. There were no guards, no footsteps, no cameras turning, just silence. Less extreme event. Rico reveals the truth. Rico leaned close and said, "This isn't about escaping. It's about exposing what they've been doing in this prison." Malik frowned. Exposing what? Rico pointed to a vent above them. Inside, Malik saw wires, microphones, and a small blinking red light. They spy on us everywhere. Not for safety, for control. We found a room where they keep the recordings. Malik's breath caught. This wasn't a riot. This wasn't a breakout. This was a reveal, a plan to show the world the truth the prison had been hiding for years. Rico continued. We weren't supposed to open the cells tonight. Someone did it early. Someone changed the plan. Malik remembered the knock on his door. The director calling him. The folder of secret pictures. Something wasn't right. Extreme ending event. The alarm that shouldn't exist. Suddenly, a loud metallic click echoed through the hallway. The lights flickered. Then, boom! A blinding red glow filled the block as an emergency alarm triggered. But not the siren inmates usually heard. This one was different. This one was only for the guards. Rico looked around in panic. They know we're here. Someone snitched. Everyone move, now. The entire block erupted into motion. Malik was shoved forward with the crowd as they rushed toward the industrial hallway, the one leading deeper into the prison. And behind them, heavy boots hit the floor. Dozens of guards. Running. Fast. The chase through the lower halls. The hallway exploded with motion as inmates sprinted toward the lower level, a part of the prison few had ever seen. Malik ran with them, his heart pounding so hard he could barely breathe. Behind them, the sound of boots hit the ground like thunder. The guards were coming. Fast. Rico shouted, "Stay low. They fire warning shots down here." Malik ducked as he ran, the cold concrete floor vibrating beneath his feet. Less extreme event, the hidden pathway. Rico led them to a service door marked authorized personnel only. He slammed his shoulder into it. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. Malik stepped forward. "Let me try," he said, using the metal key he found in his wall. He twisted the lock. Click. The door opened. They slipped inside. It was a long maintenance tunnel filled with pipes, dust, and old wiring. The air was hot and hard to breathe, but it gave them just a few precious seconds. Rico grabbed Malik by the arm. "You weren't supposed to have that key. Whoever gave it to you changed everything." Malik swallowed hard. Then who was the key meant for? Rico didn't answer. Extreme ending event. The lights go out. As they moved deeper into the tunnel, every light suddenly shut off. Total darkness. A second later, a voice echoed through the speakers. A deep voice Malik recognized instantly. The director. "All units. Lockdown Section Delta. Do not let anyone reach the archive room. Use full force authorization." Rico froze. The archive room. That was the place they were trying to reach. The room where the prison kept audio, video, and files of everything they did. The darkness shook with the sound of metal doors slamming shut. The director knew. He wasn't trying to catch them. He was trying to trap them. And he had just sealed every exit. The medical wing trap. Malik and the others crawled through the vent, trying not to look at the body as they passed. The metal creaked beneath them when they dropped down into the old medical wing. The air smelled like bleach and rust. It looked abandoned. Lights flickered overhead. Beds were overturned. The room felt wrong. Rico pointed forward. Archive room is 2 floors down. Stay sharp. Less extreme event. The locked elevator. They reached the elevator that led to the secure floor. Rico pressed a button. Nothing. He pried open the doors with the metal bar he carried. Inside the shaft, Malik saw something strange. A ladder had been freshly cleaned. No dust. No rust. Like someone had just used it. Malik climbed down first. Halfway down, he noticed fresh footprints on the ladder. Someone else was going to the archive room too. But was it a guard or another inmate? Extreme ending event. The elevator starts moving. As Malik reached the bottom, the elevator above them suddenly roared to life. He jumped off the ladder just in time. Boom! The elevator dropped from above at high speed, slamming into the bottom with a deafening crash. If they had been on the ladder 1 second longer, they would have been crushed. Rico stared at the wreckage. They're trying to kill us before we get there. Malik looked at the smashed elevator and realized the director wasn't scared of inmates running wild. He was scared of the truth getting out. The door they weren't meant to open. The hallway outside the elevator shaft was cold and narrow. Emergency lights glowed on the walls, turning everything red, like warning signs painted in blood. Malik and the others approached a steel door with a sign. Archive room, restricted level. Rico took a deep breath. Everything they've done is behind that door. The chair, the surveillance, the recordings, everything. Malik nodded. He slid the metal key, the same one left in his cell, into the lock. It fit perfectly. Exactly. Too perfectly. Less extreme event. The countdown timer. When Malik turned the key, instead of unlocking, the screen beside the door lit up. A digital timer appeared. 010, 009, 008. Malik stumbled back. Rico's eyes widened. It's a security failsafe. If we force entry, something triggers. But what? Malik looked around the hallway. No sirens. No guards charging toward them. Just a timer. 004, 003, 002. Rico grabbed Malik's arm. Run. They sprinted toward the far end of the hallway. Extreme ending event. The explosion that wasn't. Malik braced for an explosion. Heat. Smoke. Fire. But instead, thump. A heavy metal door slammed shut behind them, sealing off the entire archive room. And then, a new sound filled the hallway. A slow, heavy mechanical unlocking noise. Malik turned. Another door at the end of the hall slid open. Inside that room stood someone waiting. Not an inmate, not a guard. The director. He stepped forward slowly and said, "You weren't supposed to reach this far." Malik's heart dropped. This wasn't a chase. This wasn't an escape. This was a setup from the very beginning. Face to face with the director, Malik froze. The director stood in the doorway, calm, hands behind his back, like he had been waiting for this exact moment. Behind Malik, Rico whispered, "Don't trust anything he says." But Malik already knew that. The director slowly stepped forward. "You think you uncovered something, but everything you saw, I allowed you to see." Malik's stomach turned. Less extreme event. The director explains the setup. The director continued. "The inmate who left you that key? I approve that. The open cell doors? I ordered that. The alarms? All triggered by me." Malik felt the world tilt. "Why?" he asked. The director smiled coldly. "Because I needed to see who would follow the clues." Rico shook his head in disbelief. "You tested us?" The director nodded. Tested and selected. Extreme ending event. The director's real reveal. The director pressed a button on the wall. A screen lit up behind him showing camera feeds from all over the prison. Cells empty. Guards standing still. Inmates frozen in their tracks. The director turned back to them. "Blackridge has a bigger enemy than you think. And tonight, it's already inside the prison." Malik felt a chill run down his spine. What enemy? How? And why was the director acting like they needed his help? The enemy inside The director motioned for them to follow him into the room. They hesitated, but staying in the hallway felt even more dangerous. Inside, monitors covered every wall. Some showed inmate areas. Others showed hallways Malik had never seen. And one screen was completely black. The director tapped it. This feed went offline an hour ago. That has never happened in Blackridge. Less extreme event, the missing unit. Malik looked closer at the black screen. The label said, Sublevel 3, Storage Wing. Malik didn't even know there was a Sublevel 3. Rico asked softly, Who's down there? The director replied, A group that shouldn't exist. They call themselves the Null Unit, and they're not supposed to leave that floor. Malik frowned. Why? Who are they? The director didn't turn away from the screen. They were inmates who learned too much. Malik felt cold. Rico whispered, You turn people into something else? The director didn't respond. He didn't have to. The truth was written all over his face. Extreme ending event. The black screen flickers. Suddenly, the black screen flickered. Static, dark shapes, movement. Then a figure stepped close to the camera, too close to see clearly. A distorted voice came through the speakers. We're coming upstairs. The screen went black again. The director stepped back, alarmed. They've never left their floor. If they're coming up, everyone in this prison is in danger. Malik felt his heart drop. What had the director created? The climb to ground level. The director moved quickly now. Follow me. We need to get at least 2 levels up before they reach this floor. Malik and Rico exchanged a look, but followed. The group raced up a stairwell, lit only by emergency lights. Every step echoed through the silence. Every shadow looked alive. Less extreme event. Strange sound behind them. As they climbed, Malik heard something behind them. Not footsteps, not guards, but a strange scraping sound, like metal dragging on the floor. Rico whispered, That's not good. That's not good at all. The director didn't look back. He only said, They're faster than they used to be. Malik didn't like the sound of that. Extreme ending event. The lights shatter. Halfway up the stairwell, bang. The light above them exploded, raining dust and sparks. Then the one below shattered. One by one, lights burst in a line, coming upward toward them. Pop, 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 like something was breaking them on purpose. Rico grabbed Malik's shoulder. Move! They sprinted up the stairs as the darkness chased them. The truth still hidden. What happened inside Blackridge that night was never supposed to be known by anyone on the outside. Not the open cell doors. Not the secret surveillance. Not the director's hidden experiments. And definitely not the mysterious Null Unit rising from the lower floors. Malik, Rico, and the others came face to face with a truth bigger than anything they imagined. A truth built on silence, fear, manipulation, and a system designed to bury the evidence before anyone could ask questions. The director claimed he wanted to protect the prison, but the more Malik saw, the more he understood. Blackridge wasn't dangerous because of the inmates. It was dangerous because of the secrets it was built to protect. The surveillance rooms, the hidden floors, the files no one outside the prison had ever seen. It was all part of something deeper, a program designed to control people, erase their voices, and rewrite their lives from inside. And when the Null Unit rose toward the upper levels, it showed one thing clearly. The system inside Blackridge had finally turned on itself. The alarms, the lockdowns, the director's panic. It wasn't about safety. It was about containment. About stopping the truth from reaching daylight. About stopping anyone from discovering what this prison had become. As Malik and Rico fought to escape the tightening walls around them, they weren't just fighting for freedom. They were fighting to survive long enough to expose what Blackridge really was. A machine built to hide the crimes committed behind its walls. But the scariest part? No one on the outside even knew the prison had changed. No one knew about the missing feeds, the offline floors, or the silent units moving through the halls. To the world, Blackridge was just another maximum security prison. In reality, it was a fortress full of truths too dangerous to speak. And Malik, wasn't the only one caught in the middle. There were others, inmates who had seen too much, guards who had stayed quiet too long, people who disappeared without explanation. Their stories were buried piece by piece. Until the night everything broke. Tonight was supposed to be a test, a controlled experiment, but it became something else, something no one in Blackridge was ready for. Because when secrets are buried too deep, they don't stay hidden forever. They push their way back to the surface. And now, the world is closer than ever to learning what really goes on inside the deadliest prison in America. But the real question is, will anyone survive long enough to tell the truth?